what are kind of the closing ratios that we're seeing?
On average right now for the last 3 months, we've definitely been 40 to 60%.
That big difference of 40 to 60% has a lot to do not even with us, but with the actual moving company. For instance, if that moving company has phenomenal branding, their website's great, their reviews are amazing, they're going to close a whole lot higher than a moving company that has a free website, their reviews are 3.8 stars, and their social media is non-existent. That makes a difference for all of them. Hey guys, Jason Bergenske here. Today I have Michael with me, who's someone I get to work with every day that runs our Lion's Den booking service. So he gets to deal with all the moving companies, their customers, stuff like that, and our hiring and firing and training and all that amazing stuff that that we do here for Lion's Den.
Yep, it's a pleasure to be here.
So awesome. So kind of what I want to do is we'll spend the next several minutes kind of going through, talking a little bit about how you got here. And how long you've been here and stuff like that. So when did you start for Lion's Den?
Yep. So I started in January of 2022, and this is right actually when COVID was almost full on at that point. And I interviewed and then I got the position of a call center agent and worked my way up. I was the top booker for consecutive, I think, 4 to 5 months straight, and then I applied for the call center position, manager position, and got it.
That's awesome. And so kind of like when you first started, we weren't called Lion's Den back then.
Right.
It was just under the
MoveitPro call center.
MoveitPro call center branding. And then as we started to grow, they're both owned by my wife and I, but we decided to separate the branding to kind of help more separate the companies and to be able to grow themselves individually. And so you were part of that rebranding process when we changed. And then so before you came to work here at MoveitPro at the time, what was your past like? What did you do?
Yep. So like my true first job was actually for the state of Florida unemployment office.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I worked there for about 6 years, and I started there as a general agent answering call center questions, all about essentially whether or not they're approved, denied, anything dealing with an unemployment claim.
Lots of happy people, probably.
Tons, yeah. And then, so I got trained on a bunch of special projects there. I always wanted to kind of do extra more.
Sure.
I got put on the new hire team. So when a company hires a customer or a client, and essentially they report it in. So it's basically combat fraud, things like that. And also after that, the hurricanes started pouring through here in Florida. And so I was part of the DUA assistance, disaster unemployment assistance training program. And I essentially trained all of the state of Florida's general call center, the ones that answer the general questions on disaster unemployment assistance.
Yep. So that was all in call center stuff. So you had been doing that. And then you had worked, I think you spent some time at Sears.
Yep. So that was my next endeavor. So their home improvement line, I became I started as a fast track market coordinator, and then became a full-fledged market coordinator. I got top sales driver, I think 2 or 3 times there.
Awesome.
Got a few promotions in terms of markets, and ended up, my final market was Greensboro, North Carolina, which is one of the larger southeast regions. And then from there, of course, Sears kind of is going under. And then, I eventually got connected with MoveitPro and haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. And so you obviously, your family's not originally from Florida.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
They're full-blooded Hungarian. Essentially, I was born in Texas. So I am from here, but at the same point, I speak fluently Hungarian. And
I know you do that sometimes at the office to joke around with people. And they're like, "What are you saying?"
Yep.
And so when your family's mad at you or your mom's mad at you, she speaks English, of course.
So English is when she's calm, and when she's mad, it's Hungarian. That's how it rolls.
I think that's the same in like the Latino heritage. When they're mad, they speak there.
Yeah.
So talking about Lion's Den now. So obviously, you're part of, the majority of your day is spent with our reps,
Right.
Helping train them, helping to help, bring up their Q&A, their stuff
Correct.
That they're, helping closing ratios and stuff like that? Why don't we talk about it?
Yep. So all our reps, of course, are in Cardone training. So
they train every day for sale.
Every day, a minimum of 3 videos a day with tests. And we check that on a weekly basis. And on top of that, we're doing role plays. Anytime we're giving estimates, we're also locking down the reasons of why we're not sealing those deals. And then we're using those back in our role plays to kind of try to work through those problems.
Yeah. So our reps are literally role playing with each other and then with management of the Lion's Den for when a customer says, hey, like that price is too much. Instead of them saying, oh, well, sorry, that's the price, they're able to combat those and come back, which is awesome. And that's part of the stuff that we coach them continually with. And so let's talk about a little bit. So obviously we are, you've been here now. So you said you started in 22. So you've been here
coming up in 3 years.
You're coming up on 3 years. So last year was probably one of the hardest years for moving companies across the board. Obviously, there are some moving companies that still strived, but the majority of moving companies, they went down, 15 to 30%, which is crazy to think. Some say it's the worst that the moving industry has seen since 2006, when the economy crashed in 2008, technically. So one thing we've seen, I think, out of all the moving companies we have that are with us, and obviously we're continually adding, that a lot of those moving companies, we did see call volumes go down in the mid to later part of 23. And then the interesting thing, which, when we sit in a management meeting and we talk, like what I'm astounded by, though, is that obviously it's bad that call volume's gone down because that means the moving companies are getting less leads, right? But what we've noticed is that because of our training with our reps and the sales techniques we're enacting and the way that we are very strict, frankly, with who we keep and whatnot, that our closing ratio has dramatically increased despite the hard market that the moving industry has been in, which obviously hopefully we're starting to come out of that. Obviously, we have an election year coming up in November, which usually will drive down the interest rates, which is what most of this is tied to. But what are kind of the closing ratios that we're seeing? Obviously, it's going to be different company to company. But what are we seeing?
Market's definitely different. But on average right now, for the last 3 months, we've definitely been, for jobs that we've actually spoken to customers, we're estimating and we have booked 40 to 60%.
Yeah.
And that's all across the board with all my agents.
Yep. And that, because, we've had some that are less performers, but we get rid of them.
We coach them or coach them eventually. So if it's not something that's coachable, they end up, unfortunately, we are constantly hiring. And that's the biggest thing, constant interviews.
Yeah, every week we're hiring. Every week we're constantly hiring. And it's not because we have super high turnover, but we're expanding and we're constantly growing. So the big part of, people that are listening to this, that like those closing ratios, and that's over the phone, obviously. That's not in person. That's most of those aren't even virtual. Although we do some virtual stuff where we'll do video with the customer, but most of these are over the phone. That big difference of 40 to 60% has a lot to do, not even with us, but with the actual moving company. For instance, if that moving company has phenomenal branding, their website's great, their reviews are amazing, they're going to close a whole lot higher than a moving company that has a basic
absolutely
free website. Their reviews are 3.8 stars and their social media is non-existent. That makes a difference for our reps.
Absolutely,
and so that's a big part of it. And our reps, I think what's really awesome that I've seen with our really it's our employees, I think, across the board, MoveitPro and Lion's Den, but seeing that how much they love to see the customers win. And some of the customers, not some, but tons of customers that we have, seeing those wins that they get and then them telling us about them, telling us how they started off with 1 truck and he was, the guy is still working a part-time job, to now he's got 8 trucks and he's hiring people and opening franchises or opening more locations. Like those are the things that like our employees actually get excited about, which is cool. And I think that's a big thing that what we really try is to not have employees that just come to work.
Right. We want to connect with our clients as well.
We're here to connect, and we're here, don't get me wrong, everyone comes to work to make money. I get it. Everyone comes to work because we have bills, right? Everyone has bills. But we've always had a policy in this building that if someone's here only to make a paycheck, meaning they're here to clock in, is
not willing to put in that
clock in, clock out, we don't need them here.
Right.
And I don't care if we have 3 people left in the building. That's what we will grow with, is the people that want to be here. Because if you just need to clock in, clock out, and you don't care about the customers, you don't care about the company, unfortunately, and it's nothing bad against you, you just don't fit into our culture.
Right.
You don't fit into what we are trying to do, because we are trying to make our reps better people, be able to provide for their families, be able to provide for our customers' families, be able to provide for our managers' families, be able to do all these different things. And that's the team that we need to be able to do it.
Yep. And that requires dedication to the job and
Sure.
being willing to go that extra mile.
Yep. And so a couple of the things, so obviously a little bit about call center. So kind of to go into, I guess next, let's kind of go. So if a company signs up with, let me kind of go back. The majority of companies that come to us for Lion's Den are ones that are customers of MoveitPro, usually. That's probably 80% of our customers are already using MoveitPro, or they're just signing up for MoveitPro, and they're super excited because we also have Lion's Den.
Right.
The other 20% of people that come to Lion's Den have maybe never heard of MoveitPro, but they're looking for a call service. And then they end up finding Lion's Den. And then the funny thing is, a lot of times, then they'll come into MoveitPro. They end up doing both, which is really neat. But let's just talk about, one of our reps is signing up a customer for MoveitPro.
Mm-hmm.
The customer's already interested in Lion's Den. They're signing up for both. So that means they're signing up for our software package, which is all-encompassing their entire CRM, their billing, their dispatch, their payroll, their estimating, all that stuff. And then they also get our call center.
Right.
What does that process look like for a customer coming on board? Like, what does it entail?
Yep. So after we've got your MoveitPro set up, our first and foremost, we'll go ahead and send you out some frequently asked questions. So that's basically, we create a user manual, which is easily accessed for all our agents with the click of a button while they're on the call. And then after that, we usually go ahead and do some test estimates, make sure your quotes are coming out accurate.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Once they're coming out accurate, we put the FAQs in place, do some finalized tests, and we're pretty much ready to go live. We'll go through any scripting, custom scripting that the companies would like, and adjust it. That way we can brand your company accordingly when we're actually having the conversations.
Yeah.
And then usually the turnaround is within a week to 2 weeks max.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, and so you talked about custom scripting. So our reps have a couple things that are accessible to them. So obviously they're using, and we're the only call center for moving companies in general that has done this. They use MoveitPro, and we've completely spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on and developing. Our entire call center is built into MoveitPro.
Right.
So what that means to the end user and why it matters is because when a customer calls in to our call center, so what you do is we provide you a phone number and you transfer those calls to us.
Right.
So, and let me just talk about that for a second. So the calls that you transfer to us, some moving companies send us everything. They say, look, we don't want to have to sell our customers. We want to worry about dispatching, hiring guys, and doing that stuff. So that's what we want to worry about. And so that's what they send us, is everything. And then we have other customers that send us only after hours. So they close at 5 o'clock, and from 5 until 10 p.m., which is when we're open,
Right.
The calls come to us, and we help book the moves and talk to the customer and do their leads and follow-ups, and we close deals for them. And then the third set of customers are the ones that, look, we don't want you guys to take any calls unless we just don't pick up the phone. Meaning we got 6 employees or 8 guys that are already estimators in our office of our moving company. And if all of them are on the phone or out on on-sites, if the phone rings 3 times, then it sends it to you guys. And we help you guys set all this up. And then we get those calls. And part of it is because we're open so much. So our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. And then on most holidays as well.
And most holidays, obviously, we're open. I think we're closed Christmas.
And Easter.
And Easter, I think we're closed. But so having that ability for what we do, I think is a big thing for what these customers do. And so they sign up with the service. And so then we, like you mentioned, they will fill out an FAQ, which essentially is like everything about their company.
Right.
Where's their office located? Do you move safes? If so, how much? Do you move pianos? Do you all these different things? Do you do long distance? Do you do all this stuff? So that when our reps are on the phone, it's right there in their MoveitPro in the estimate. They can literally see everything about this company.
Exactly.
quick and easy. And when they pick up the phone, of course, when the phone rings, it comes straight into MoveitPro. Our reps are wearing a headset. The calls are recorded, which you can listen to at any time, the customer, the moving company can. And when it comes in, our rep already knows immediately which moving company it's for because it says the moving company name as it's ringing and says the customer's name if they're already in our database.
Absolutely.
Which is a lot of times. So we're able to pick up the phone and say, hey, thank you for calling ABC Moving and Storage. I see this is Michael calling. How you doing, buddy? If you've had a conversation with them already, you're able to customize the stuff that no one else is able to do versus saying, thank you for calling ABC Moving. May I ask who's speaking or whatever it is, right? You know, you're able to customize your message. And the customer almost thinks like, oh, wow, they know who I am. Like they must really care about me as a customer, or they programmed me in their phone or whatever it is. But really it's, you know, we've used technology to be able to do that. And so then as we go through the estimate process, we, you know, and why don't you kind of talk a little bit about this? What details do we get?
So we always start off, we're going to collect all the move data. So you're going to collect the addresses, the floors, you know, what type of move it is, what the distances from the trucks are. So we can kind of make sure how that's going to work out with the parking. So that will generally cover most of your step one. And just kind of the best part of our software is really you can just follow the stars on it. So we actually have a star platform where you can just follow through. After that, step two, we would generally go through the inventory. We're going to collect all the details, essentially make sure we tell the customer that the estimated price of the move is going to be based on that accuracy of the inventory that they provide.
Yep.
And of course, if the price could go higher if they leave anything off the inventory. We'll go room by room. Usually we like to start with, if it's, for instance, like a bedroom move, I'd start with the master bedroom.
Sure. And you kind of step the customer through.
Absolutely. So we maintain control throughout the call. So essentially I'd start with the master bedroom, ask them what size bed we're working with, whether or not we'd like to disassemble and reassemble that. And then I just kind of prompt them through and probe as I go through. Is there anything else in that room that you'd like us to move for you? And then just kind of work our way through. All right, what's the next room we like to go through? And just kind of take the steps through. And when we finalize it, we have a nice itemized inventory room by room, and it looks super professional and clean. And then essentially we send that over to the customer and get signatures and hopefully book the move.
Yeah. And so when we, you know, one thing I think that a lot of call centers are not doing, and this is moving industry specific and not, is they are just there to answer customer questions.
Right.
And while we certainly are there to answer customer questions, at the end of the day, we are there to book the move because that's what matters. And so our people, we don't train to be order takers. We train them to be salespeople. When we are dealing with a customer, we are asking for the customer's business. We are asking them, you know, to move forward. Like we are using sales techniques to overcome their objections and stuff like that, that we're not just an answering service. It's picking up the phone, giving the customer a little bit of information, and then we don't care if they're on their way. We want to close the move because we want that moving company to succeed.
Absolutely. I also think, you know, not only are they sellers, they're problem solvers too. Yeah. So their goal is to make sure that they have the easiest move in their life.
So. And that's awesome. And so in our system too, we've developed the ability for our sales reps for Lion's Den to be able to directly talk to via text message with either the owner of the moving company or whoever they've put in charge of this. And so what this has allowed us to do, and it's something we did within the last year or so, and it's really neat because what we had problems with in the past was a situation, because obviously we can see the moving company's schedule. We're scheduling moves. Like we're putting them on their calendar. We're booking the moves, taking the credit card, getting the money, handling everything. Where there'd be situations where they have enough time in their schedule for truck B for 4 hours, but we got a 5-hour job.
Exactly.
And we don't want to turn that customer down. So in the past, we would have to tell that customer to hold on, try and call the moving company owner, which sometimes we wouldn't get. And then we'd tell the customer that we would call them back. And it just creates all these bottlenecks for booking the move. So we completely developed a whole new system where we can message. And so right while we're talking to that customer, while we're speaking to them, without putting them on hold, we can start chatting with the moving company owner or whoever they have in charge, their dispatch or whatever, just as if we worked directly for your moving company, and we're just talking to the person in the next cubicle to see if we can fit this job on the calendar.
Yep.
And then that has allowed us to speed up so much. And we use it for other types of communication also. If someone calls in and there's a claim or whatever the situation is, we're able to directly conversate with who we need to talk to at the moving company very quickly and effectively while we're talking to the customer at the same time.
Right. And when we were selling, I mean, the communication, if that line's not there, then you're going to miss some sales. So that's why I think it's very important to actually make sure that not only we're texting, we're also texting the customers constantly too. So we're contacting them by email, text, and phone. So we're hitting all three of them.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up a good point. So like when our system, because obviously MoveitPro has tons of AI and has tons of automation in it. And so when a company comes to Lion's Den, we set up specific triggers that we have by default.
Yep.
So, meaning they're going to get called a certain amount of times based on when the move date is. They're going to get emailed a certain amount of times. Some of them are automated. Some of them are manual. They're going to get texted multiple times. They're going to all these things. And then the moving company can even adjust those,
Absolutely.
correct? And
completely customizable. Some companies like to contact a lot more, make a lot more attempts. Certain markets are more difficult to book in, where it's a lot more harder to actually reach the customer. You got to make them extra attempts. Other companies, for instance, even when we have many plans, which we'll get into too, some with using the pay-per-minute plan prefer we do limited contacts. So it limits their bill, and we're okay with that.
Yep. Our goal at the end of the day is to help moving companies. That's what it comes down to. I mean, in reality, and I think most people watching this knows my history, but my history literally has grown up in the moving industry. I was riding four-wheel dollies at probably 4 years old in our warehouse that my dad built. Like I've literally grown up going out on trucks. I've literally grown up dispatching trucks in the morning. I've dealt with hiring guys, firing guys, dealing with customers upset over claims. Like I've been in the trenches and had to deal with this stuff. And pulling myself out of that to create a software company that originally was only supposed to be for MoveitPro, but then the ability to see how much we've helped moving company owners, it has really created a drive in me to want to help other moving company owners and get out of the struggles that some of us have went through. Like the guys that were in business 30 years ago or 25 years ago are completely different struggles than the guys are dealing with now. Mm-hmm. Because back then, there was no one to talk to. You were completely alone. You couldn't talk to other moving company owners. There was no software companies to help you. There was no anything.
Right.
And so that's part of what's exciting for us is to be able to help company owners and actually help them. Yes, obviously we're going to make $1. Mm-hmm. We're in business to make a profit, but at the same time, we are a very reasonable cost to the services that we provide, and so that we can continue to grow and help more people. So talking about that, a big thing I think we've come out is a new price plan. So we're going to kind of explain both price plans. So our current price plan that we've been since the beginning, and to give you an idea, we opened the call center right when COVID was happening. I knew that we already had MoveitPro. I knew there was going to be a shortage of staff throughout moving companies when COVID started, because I knew moving companies, I saw it, that moving companies were going to have to downsize. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we started back then it was MoveitPro Call Center, in which did amazingly well, obviously. And then, the original pricing plan is we charge $100 a month. I know it's a lot of money, a whole $100 a month. And we provide you a phone number that you transfer your calls to. You can turn that on and off as much as you want. It doesn't matter. If you send a call or transfer a call to that phone number, we will pick it up and we will book those moves. That's our job. Yep. That's our goal. So we charge $100 a month. And then we charge, depending on how many calls you send us, It's between 12 and 15% if the moves book. So if we work on a call, we talk to a customer, we do all of that, and it ends up turning into a booked move, then it's between 12 and 15%, depending on how much volume you send us. That being said, if you send us, 1,000 leads and we call all 1,000, but we only talk to 100 of them, mm-hmm. So 900 of them we've called 3-4 times, emailed, texted, 100 of them we talked to, out of those 100, we're saying we book between 40 and 60 of them. If they're good leads, obviously. I'm not talking about, I think everyone knows, but let me just put in the thing. I'm not talking about lead provider leads. These are good leads that are coming through your website, leads that are coming from Angie's, leads that are not going to 10 different moving companies.
Leads we can actually
when they come in.
Someone.
Leads that we can reach someone. And we're going to book those. So now you would pay commission on the moves that end up booking. But of the other 900 calls, really it's more than that because we call them more than once.
Yeah, well, we call them, I mean...
Minimum's 3.
Yeah, I mean, even more than that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So we're averaging like, I'd say 8 to 9 right now.
Yeah. So based on the economy. So we ramped that up some to be able to help moving companies close more business. So anyways, so all of those ones you don't make money on, I pay the bill on.
Yep.
MoveitPro, Lions Den pays the bill on. We don't have to, we literally do not charge customers for any of those. The ones that we charge is the ones that turn into customers.
Right.
And pay you as a
It's
customer.
like a win-win situation.
Moving company owners, are you tired of managing your business with spreadsheets and pen and paper methods? Do you want to streamline your operations, increase your bookings, and look more professional to your customers? Then it's time to switch to MoveitPro software. Our cloud-based platform provides everything you need to manage your moving company in one place, from booking and dispatching to payment processing and customer communication. Plus, with features like GPS tracking, real-time notifications, and detailed reporting, you'll be able to optimize your operations and take your business to the next level.
And then the other payment plan we have is, which we're just now announcing, is pay per minute.
Yep, it's like fresh out of beta.
Yeah. So our goal with this was to allow companies to not have to pay us big commissions on jobs that we book, but be able to just pay per minute. So on the flip side of that is it allows that if they want us to do, 100 leads come in, they want us to call 100, they'd pay per minute. I think it's, what's it start at?
Starts at $1.36 per minute.
$1.36 per minute goes down to,
That I don't have memorized.
80 will put it up on the screen. Our marketing person will put it up on the screen for you. But it's volume based, and our goal with this is you then don't pay us commission unless you want us still booking the moves, and then it's a flat rate commission.
Flat rate of $50.
Flat rate of $50. So, if for instance, if you want us the call comes in, we would still do full estimate, reach back out, do follow ups, do all of that stuff, and then if they're ready to book, then we'd send it back to you if you don't want to have to pay us commission, and you only pay per minute. If you want us to still book it, then it's only the $50. Instead of, for instance, on a $1,000 move, based on the 12 to 15% would be $120 to $150 in commission. So you're saving quite a bit of money there.
Yep.
Depending on what you want for your company.
Right.
The companies that want to be able to save $1 and they only want us calling their customers 2 times, then the pay per minute's probably a good plan.
Yep.
If they're a company that says, no, I want you calling my people 9 times, and I want you doing this and that, the commission may be more because we're obviously doing a lot more of the legwork. You're only paying us if you're making money.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the company. We're trying to be, open and help companies the best way we can and meet customers where they need to be at as far as pricing and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So
It's super interesting too because I have very, very large companies on the pay per minute plan, and then I have very small companies, and they both seem to be doing
that have been in beta. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, how long have we had ones in beta for?
I don't want to give you the wrong information. I think it's only like 3 months.
Yeah, a few months. Yep. That's what I was thinking it was, a few months. So obviously we had to do some development there because we try and automate all of our billing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we did quite a bit of development there to be able to do that. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, we'll kind of move past Lions Den a little bit as far as the operation standpoint. But let's talk a little bit about what we've done. So you've been here for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
You've been a manager at least 2 years now, I know.
Yeah, I'm 2 years. Yep.
How long were you a manager before the first, where I'm getting at, the cruise?
Oh, I think I was a manager for 2 months only, and then I got...
So that was pretty good deal.
That was a good deal, a real good deal.
So every year, my wife and I take all of our managers and their spouses on a cruise.
Yep.
During a work week. They get paid while they're on the cruise. Like, this is the best thing in the world. does not use their PTO, which they do have PTO, does not use PTO. We pay them.
Technically accruing PTO while we're doing it.
And we all go on a cruise. And so we started it 2 years ago. Michael just slid in for the first year that we were doing it. And I think you had been on a cruise before, or what?
So I was on a cruise when I was like 5 years old. It was like Disney's Big Red Boat. It does not count. I didn't get to do anything.
So we did, obviously. So we did a cruise the last 2 years. Tell me a little bit about like what we did and how we, why it was good for team building and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's tons of fun. So the first manager cruise, essentially we went. It was on a Caribbean cruise. It was Royal Caribbean. It was super fun. So we actually did the cruise as a group. It wasn't where we kind of all went our separate ways. We all stuck together. It was a great team building exercise. Essentially, all the managers got real close and learned everything about each other and
their spouses, which is neat. And it for me as a business owner, just kind of tell you, like, obviously it costs a significant amount of money, but it's something for us that we did that I think really helps get our employees' spouses to buy in to what we do at MoveitPro and Lionsden.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely will help sell those extra hours for sure.
Yeah, like in the sense of like this is kind of funny, but like Corey, who's another one of our managers, Kimmy, which is his soon-to-be wife, never been on a cruise before. She's been on 2 now with us. If he starts looking at other jobs, she's probably gonna be like, "Hey, like, are they throwing in a cruise every year? Like, what are we doing, right?" So, but what it allowed us to do, so we did that. We go to Miami, which I mean, luckily we're in Florida, so we got a few hour drive, right? But taking these guys on cruises is just awesome. Nick was
tons of fun.
Nick had never been on a cruise before, taking him on a cruise. Corey, I mean, we've just all gone. Spouse is gone. We all get together for dinners at night.
We work while we're on the cruise.
Yeah, we call it work.
Try to work.
Yeah, every morning, I think what we say, like, work hour and a half, check your emails, make sure no one back at home needs us. As far as, because obviously our business is still operating. Like, we don't shut down. And so we do this cruise, and it's a really neat. It's probably the best, in my opinion, team building that you can do.
It's like the connections you get from just hanging out and being together on the cruise.
You're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah,
you're spending a lot of time together. Which we haven't had this scenario, but if you don't want to spend time together, you can just you're on a huge ship, so it's not like it's a big problem. But it just really allowed for us all to be closer, right. I think, and really was really neat and experience. I think we've done, we did Haiti a couple of years ago, which you can't go to Haiti anymore. I guess they've shut that down because something happened there. But we've been to the Bahamas.
We also, not only did we do the cruises, we've gone on the 10X Growth Conference.
Oh, true. Yeah, so we've done that also.
That wasn't only managers. That also included
we took sales reps
as well.
Yeah.
We're always doing actually these little extra projects to kind of
to better the company. That's kind of the end of the day.
Exciting too, and learn.
Yeah, we really enjoy that. So when we go to Miami, we go to Grant Cardone's. We've been to his sales workshops. We've been to 10X Growth, which is their business boot camp. We've done that. We took, 8 of us there, 9 of us, something like that. Got Airbnbs for all the employees, and just really, like that one we did. So that one we did. I think we rented a big house, and we went there for 4 days or whatever it was, and it was just super
learned a lot.
Just cool, just a neat environment to be in to for us all to build something really cool together.
Bond, definitely.
Yep. So, only other thing I can think of is to talk about is your take on Legends. Obviously, we did Legends. I think most of you listening to this kind of know what it is, but Legends came from or deprived from. We started doing Grow Your Moving Company workshops here in our office.
They were quite successful.
Which were very successful. Which were moving company owners flying in from all over the country to meet with us in a conference room for, with 15 other moving company owners and hear us speak and the things that we can help them grow their business with, as well as them being able to network and spend time together and shoot ideas off of each other and stuff. So we did that. And then we, this year, we just did the first Legends Retreat, which I
Absolutely awesome.
30,000 square foot house, indoor bowling alleys,
Had everything.
indoor basketball court, movie theater that holds 40 people,
Arcades.
multiple arcade rooms, like big rooms.
Almost every room they had a pool and jacuzzi and
Had a rooftop swimming pool, a regular swimming pool, a lazy river. I mean, it's just on and on and on.
Yep.
So we did that, and we sold more tickets than we thought we were going to sell.
Yep.
We filled the house, which we originally were only going to do just rooms, and then we sold those out, and then we ended up doing day passes because we figured we could fit more people in the theater, which was awesome. And the neat thing is, and I want you to talk about it, but the neat thing is we didn't know if we were going to redo this event, and we ended up, based on customers saying at the event, like, hey, we want to come next year. How do we get our tickets? And we're like,
we just pretty much sold tickets.
And that day, I think there was the second day, and I talked about this with Nick also, and when we were talking in the same room, we went up to we had a conference room at the mansion that was set up for our offices for the employees we had there for the 4-day workshop or 4-day retreat. And we literally went upstairs, made up order forms, printed them off in that room, and went out and sold a ton of tickets to the next Legends. Like, it was unbelievable. But so, I mean, kind of tell me your take, because obviously I had never been part of something like that, and obviously we put it on. But what was your take?
It was super cool. So first and foremost, of course, we had the cool house, which was great. You had all the amenities, but the biggest thing I noticed is the moving companies, not only did they come together and we gave them the material that we provided and we went over that, we did our presentation, but it almost becomes like a roundtable discussion where we're slinging a great what's good working, what's not working, how this works in this market. It basically lets the companies network with each other and build connections that you just can't find anywhere else.
And we had people come from all over. Like, this wasn't people in Florida that were like, oh yeah, there's a retreat, yeah, I'll stop by. Like, no, this was like, I don't remember what the couple was. They drove from New Jersey,
from California, some from New Jersey, some
Mississippi, Michigan, like
it's all
over. Georgia, of course, which that could have been a drive, but it was just really an amazing event that I truly feel like the relationships that were built, and I'm not even talking about with us, with the customers, but with them, with each other, they've built lasting relationships. We have a Facebook group that we created, and again, we created this out of a need. We're at the event, and everyone's like, well, how do we stay in contact with everyone? We're like, oh shit, I guess we should figure that out. So we created a Facebook group of attendees of Legend Retreats so that they could all, and like, a lot of this stuff we just learn as we go. And don't get me wrong, like I feel like we have learned a lot of stuff in a lot of areas. We know what to do and what's going to work and what's not. But there's a lot of things we've done too that didn't work. Or we have to figure it out.
Right.
But one of the things is we're not scared to figure things out. No. We're always trying new things. We're always doing new things. And I think that's what kind of makes us different than everyone else. We're not just a software company. We're trying to help moving company owners. We're not just trying to sell you software, make our money, and then we don't care about you as a customer.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, our goal with doing these podcasts, our goal with doing workshops, our goal with doing the retreat, we're not making tons of money on that stuff. I can guarantee you that's not where we make our money. Our goal is to help moving companies. Yeah. And that's the reality of why we do what we do, is because watching the light bulb go off in some of the heads of some of these moving company owners as we're talking to them or helping them, seeing the success stories of them, the guy that's been trying to do his moving company for 6-7 years and is losing money every year, to all of a sudden now he has 8 trucks, and his wife now doesn't have to work anymore, and like all this stuff. Like the Angus, we talked about this with Nick, like Angus he was at our Legends retreat, like such a cool dude. Greg from USA Home Listing, like all these people, like just getting with these people and getting in the same room and being able to sit and talk about everything, not just business, not just moving, but just everything. And I think that's one of the cool things that, the Legends Retreat did for us.
Yeah, the Legends Retreat definitely opened up a new route of connections, so where you can connect with other people and kind of network and learn from each other, and not only learn from what's working and what doesn't work, everything all around.
Yeah. How was there any customers that you got to meet that like you've talked to before and stuff?
So yeah, I actually had some like call center companies. So I had Los Panos come on this last one, and they actually are coming to the next one too. So I'm super excited about that.
Insert their review here, marketing person.
And then, yeah,
Los Panos, their call center customer.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was actually a few. There was some on the software side too.
Yeah. Did you get to do any stuff with any of them?
So I did. I sat down with Los Panos. We did some trainings, and we also went through leads, like lead sources and things like that.
Did you do any fun stuff with any of them?
So yeah, I mean,
I asked Nick the same thing. Nick was like, "No, man, I was working the whole time." I was like, "Yeah, good answer, good answer."
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think I played bowling with one or two.
Yeah,
I was really bad at bowling, but so they won that one. But yeah.
Oh boy, well, that's awesome. But I think that's pretty much all I got. So if anyone wants tickets to Legends Retreat, it's legends.moveitpro.com. I'm sure we'll put it somewhere here, right here. Point, Michael, right here somewhere, right there, maybe here. That'll right one of those. And then so legends.moveitpro.com. And then if anyone wants to get more information on Lions Den, where do they go?
LionsDenSales.com.
So that's lionsdensales.com. And again, this is Michael.
Yep.
And what's your extension?
It is 8002.
8002. So I'm sure we'll put up the phone number, and then his extension's 8002. And if you got any questions, certainly give him a call.
Absolutely.
All right. We appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of the day.
No pleasure.